week one of the fantasy football season. Here's a few tight ends. I have his sleeper options this week. The first guy, Gerald Everett of the Los Angeles Chargers. So this ball game with the Raiders and Chargers, it's going to be a shootout, no doubt about it, I believe, here in week one. And Gerald Everett, a good piece, I think, this Charger offense added in the offseason. I know last season Jared Cook was a tight end. He was inconsistent and banged up. But now Gerald Everett, the number one guy. Last season, he finished the season strong with the Seattle Seahawks. And now to go play with Justin Herbert in an offense where, he's going to be the fourth or fifth option, but also defenses aren't going to pay attention to him. And in the red zone, this is where it could be key for Gerald Everett. Last season, 48 catches, 478 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. But right here in this ball game versus the Raiders, I think he could have a sneaky ball game, 50 yards and a touchdown is Everett. And right now, he's available in 78% of fantasy leagues, and he's a good sleeper option this week. The next guy is Austin Hooper of the Tennessee Titans. So this Titan offense is revamped a little bit here. A.J. Brown, they traded to the Eagles. Julio Jones, they let him go, cutting him loose. And then they traded for Robert Woods. Traylon Burks they drafted. And Austin Hooper, who we know was a decent tight end a few years ago with Matt Ryan and the Falcons. But it just didn't work out for him in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield. So last season, a down year, no doubt about it for Hooper. 38 catches, 345 yards. But now playing with Tannehill, who likes hitting the tight end. He likes those short routes, slants, and out routes. And I think Austin Hooper fits this offense pretty well here, where obviously defenses are going to pay attention to Derrick Henry and stack the box and pay attention to Robert Woods. So Hooper, he's another guy available still in 57% of fantasy leagues. And week one with a good matchup versus the Giants. And we know for seasons they can't stop tight ends. Their linebackers aren't great ball coverage guys. And I think Austin Hooper could be a sneaky play in this one with 40 yards and possibly finding the end zone. And the third and final tight end I have as a sleeper this week's Hayden Hurst of the Cincinnati Bengals. Here, Hayden Hurst, another guy not many people remember probably about that he's even in the league anymore. But Hayden Hurst, a few seasons ago, we know he was good with the Baltimore Ravens. And then he left in free agency and he went to the Falcons. And that just didn't work out as well. So right now, available in 91% of fantasy leagues, here's Hurst. And last season, we saw Joe Burrow liking the tight ends on and off. And that's another thing here. C.J. Uzomah's gone. He went to the New York Jets. And now he's the number one guy here is Hayden Hurst after signing in free agency with this Bengal team. And defenses, they're obviously going to pay attention to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon out of the backfield. So Hurst being a fourth or fifth option on this offense, I think he can work the middle of the field. I think he can make a few plays. And this Steelers defense, they're a pretty solid unit, especially Miles Jack added in the offseason. But I still think Hayden Hurst could fly under the radar in this one and be a decent sleeper option. So that's a few tight ends I have as sleeper options here for week one of the fantasy football season.